What are calories? I know, tiny monsters hiding inside our closet, sewing our clothes tighter and tighter every night. But what's the deal? Should we count them or not count them? Tune in live to discover the shocking truth. You won't want to miss this. Hit it. Dun, 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 Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Welcome to a fresh new episode of the Fitness Avengers, where we fight fat, frustration, and fitness fakes. I'm your host, master trainer and author Tony Arreola from TotalBodyProject.com, and I'm on a personal mission to simplify fitness for you. Coming at you every Monday night at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Facebook Live. Woo! To count or not to count? That is the question. Because let's face it, guys, calories calories suck, right? I mean, everywhere you turn, people just they get a bad rap, and I understand. I hate the word too. I think heaven would be the spot where you eat whatever you want and calories didn't count, and you stay lean and fit, and that would be my ideal place of where I would would live at. But what should we do? And what you're gonna find today is you're gonna find really shocking, because the stuff that I learned is just blew my mind to think all these calories, all these pounds of fat. If you're jumping on the show, make sure you say hi. Hi, Diana. Jump on the show, say hi, comment, like, share, subscribe, all those good things. Thank you for watching the Fitness Avengers. We're gonna learn the shocking truth about calories, calories in and calories out. We're gonna learn how the FDA even measures calories. So what they tell us. We're going to learn about fitness trackers, their different accuracies, and our asset trainer is a good question today. Which fitness tracker should I get? Fitbit, Apple, Garmin. I'm going to end the debate today. We'll have our first ever book spotlight. So the book today is Tiny Habits. So I'll give you a good review on that and what you can learn from it. And like I said, if you're tuning in, make sure you comment. If you have questions, today's going to be a kind of a provocative show, because I'm going against the norm of things that I usually talk about. I talk really stringent about calories, but the stuff that you're going to learn about today is going to really kind of shake your world. So stay kind of buckled in, stay with me. And I'm going to give you the truths that can really help benefit you. And you can get away, you can learn, and you can take a lot of value out of today's show. Today's sponsor is Total Body Project. We thank them because they help us keep the lights on, especially during the pandemic. So thank you, Total Body Project. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. So the first thing we want to know is, what are calories? Right? Calories are the currency of energy. It's basically what powers your body. Calories are the energy that you need to survive, the energy you need to move around, to think, to do this thing that we call life. And your body really loves calories because that's what it's needed to survive. The problem with that is that it will never get rid of calories that it doesn't need, meaning it'll hang on to it. And it turns into this bad boy right here, which is called fat. This is 3,500 calories, 3,500, and it's 1 pound of fat. So you put that on the cheek, on the side, or wherever. Your body's going to do what it can to preserve these calories. So you need to understand that. You need to know that calories are this thing that our body's just not going to throw away. And when we're talking about weight loss and calorie management, energy in, energy out, there's actually two problems with that. I wish it was a linear relationship, meaning that we had 100% accuracy as far as the calories in versus the calories out, but unfortunately we don't. And today you're going to learn the different ways that calories are reported, different things about absorption levels, different ways our metabolisms, even like menstrual cycles, sleep, hormones, all these different things come into play to really change the parameters of calories. And the problem with that is that it's going to send your world into a turmoil, right? If you're trying to lose weight, you're like, T, you told me to count calories. Now you're telling me not to count calories. And now I don't know what to do. And now I'm going to eat a chocolate cake. Right? Because isn't that the way that we respond? It's by eating a chocolate cake, which is great. But I want you to know that the reason I'm sharing this with you is I want you to feel empowered. we're going to change the strategy a little bit, and we're going to focus on habits, on behavioral change, because ultimately counting calories is fundamentally flawed. There's good practices that come behind it, like awareness and things like that. So we'll get into all that stuff. So you're gonna have take away a lot from this show. You're gonna take away a lot from this show. The first thing is that all calories are not the same. What I mean by that is, if you have like an apple has a lot of nutrients. All your fruits and vegetables have a lot of nutrients, a lot of things that your brain needs, your body needs, your bones, muscles, all the stuff that you need to function really is super beneficial from those types of calories, which are called nutrient dense. The other type of calories, which are not nutrient dense, are like your chips, your little goldfish, your fried food stuff. Typically, that comes in packages is usually not nutrient dense. So you might get more calories, or the same amount, roughly the same amount of calories, but the nutrients are very different. And what I'm learning now, the new data is showing, is that our brain, or our second brain, which is the gut, has all these these billions of nerve endings, and it transports up to the brain through this thing called the vagus nerve. And basically, what's happening is that your second brain, your gut, is really taking all the nutrients that you're taking from eating and using it for brain. So that means that if you're eating like the wrong foods, like chips, junk food, things that you shouldn't be eating, that are not like organic, or they're not whole foods, or you don't even know what they are. Like somebody this weekend told me that they eat fruit roll-ups, which I don't know what fruit roll-ups are, but they're not fruit, that's for sure. But these different types of foods really affect your mood, anxiety, performance, depression, cognitive ability. So now when you're talking about solving this puzzle of, calories in and calories out, the first thing you want to think about is, are these calories valuable to my well-being, to my livelihood? And that's when you can really start to shift the paradigm between the calories of number and calories of nutrients. So we want calories that are nutrient dense, because those tend to fill you up more, and they're just a lot better for your mood, for your waistline, for performance, for everything in life, which is fantastic. Now, one of the big errors is that calorie measurements are imprecise. So let's throw an S there. So calorie measurements are imprecise. What that means is that the FDA actually allows up to 5 different ways to report calories. And let's say an apple you put in a medium apple, and you have a small apple. And let me see, I got one here. Here we go. You got a small apple. Let's get it. You can see it. So one apple, and you have low ends and high ends. So on the low end, you have 83 calories for a medium apple, and the high end has 116 calories. And the average is 93. Now you get the 93, but sometimes it may be lower, sometimes it may be higher. Carrots, right? You can see the discrepancy: 37, 61, 50 is the average. And I don't know what this other guy is. Let me see if I had myself. Okay, so there you see, for tomatoes, it's actually 23, 32, and 49. So now what you're seeing is that there's a pretty big variance as far as calories go, which sucks, right? Because the variance can be, the FDA allows the difference in calories to be up to 20%, which is crazy. 20% is a lot, right? If you're thinking that you're eating 83, but you're actually eating 116 calories, that's like almost double the more calories, or 2/3 more calories than you thought you were eating. So that poses a huge problem if you're trying to lose weight and really manage each calorie to the T. So think about that. I know that kind of sucks. That doesn't really help us a lot, because there's a huge error. And so now the equation changes again. Now calorie absorption changes by individual, depending on your gut bacteria, how you process foods, your metabolism, age. All these things change how your body absorbs calories, and so that makes it more difficult. So now you eat two individuals absorb calories differently, which sucks, right? We don't, and it makes sense, because we know that one individual can absorb X amount of calories and another individual might absorb less calories from the same food just because of their different chemical makeup, their different genes, their different bacteria, all those different things that happen in the body that really vary absorption by individual. What also changes is the absorption by cooking. So this is an interesting one. So what I mean by cooking it, so say you take an egg, right? An egg's about 47 calories. I mean, that's what it says on the label. And you hard boil that egg, and now you cook it. So what that means is there's more calories available for absorption. So it has a set amount of calories, but now there's more calories available to absorb. So the egg that's 47 calories might now be 75 calories or more. The steak, like a raw steak, I don't know who's eating raw steak. Maybe if you're at my client Eric's house, you eat raw steak. But when you cook it, you grill it, you make more calories available for absorption. So that 196 calories on that steak right there is now 240. Now, potato, same. Now you boil that potato. What happens is that I got the cellular level. There's more water involved. There's more absorption involved, and the food, you've seen it, it expands. But what it does, it makes more calories available for absorption. So that means that your body can intake it, can digest it, can process it, and it makes the calorie count go up. So another way to increase the calorie count is also by chopping it and by blending it. That type of stuff will actually also increase absorption rates, and it can increase the error up to 90%. So all those years that I thought I was doing really well with my eggs and boiling my eggs and counting only 50 calories, turns out it would have been like 85. And yeah, this is heartbreaking. I can't imagine for my clients that are watching, or you're watching the replay, but know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. We will figure this out, but you want to be aware about, I didn't even see what that even says. Calorie absorptio. I gotta talk to my Kona, my assistant over there. Absorptio. It's actually absorption. So that's close though. Oh, and the kids are laughing at me now. It's terrible. It's terrible, kids. Now the next thing that we want to look at is eyeballing is hard. So we're talking about so now you got your MyFitnessPal. We've talked about logging your food, and eyeballing, it's tremendously difficult to get the portions right. So when you put in like a tablespoon or a cup or whatever of food you're trying to measure it, studies show that people mismeasure by 2/3 of the time. Even trained nutritionists underestimate calories in meals by an average of 30%. That's crazy. So even like the professionals at the highest level, nutritionists, are estimating calories underestimate by 30%. So that means they're missing big. So what does that mean? That means that if you're eyeballing and you're saying that's 1 cup, and you're just kind of like putting it up, maybe you do a cup of ice cream, sometimes it's a cup and a third, you're just more likely adding more calories if you're eyeballing, because eyeballing is hard. It's difficult. It's hard to kind of live your life like that. So this makes it, again, pretty hard. So we got a tough little battle there on the calories inside. If you're signing live, make sure you're high. It's emoji time. Hit those emojis, hit those likes, hit those loves, tag somebody, share the video. Cheer. Yeah. We got the vaccine today, guys. First dose in the United States. Yeah. I see light at the end of the tunnel. I will see people again. I will see people again. All right. Now for the other side of the equation. Now we're talking about trackers. And trackers are good. I like trackers. I use them with my clients. But now trackers are also off. Yeah. The trackers are also off. Like Fitbit, all these guys that we kind of bank on, and you're all excited because you burned all these calories. Let's look. So like you look at a Fitbit, so that's an error up 10%. Fitbit 10%. This basis B1, I wouldn't buy that. That's like 24% error. And there are errors on both sides. So up and down. So you could be over reporting or you could be under reporting. So what that means is that they're off by almost a 30% number. So now let's look at worst case scenario. Now you're trying to create a 20% caloric deficit. You're trying to lose weight, and there's gross errors by the labels, by averages, by the FDA, by everybody, and you're missing by 20%. Now you're thinking you're going to be burning a certain amount of calories, and now your tracker's off by 30%. So now this side is off, and this side is off, and then you start crying, right? Because the world end. This is why I'm fat. Give me my peanut butter. I'll eat my chocolate cake. Throw your hands up. See, you can't win this game. What sucks, but and to add to more sucky stuff is individuals burn rate varies. What does that mean? It means if you didn't sleep enough, you're gonna burn like 20% less calories. Is that crazy? You're gonna be less active. Your body triggers this release of leptin and ghrelin, so you're gonna be craving more food. If your hormones are gonna be out of whack, so for females, the menstrual cycle actually slows down the metabolic burn, which is crazy. So even yourself in a typical day, your calorie burn is gonna vary. So some days you burn more, that's what you hope for. Some days you burn less, and those days you just kind of get sad. So now, what should you do? Now, what should you do? Throw your arms up, just cry, take your mask. Take your mask off, and then run into the grocery store and start licking shopping carts. I mean, this is really, really problematic. And the reason I really wanted to do this show is because it helped me gain a lot of insight as far as helping my clients getting the latest research and finding out that these calorie counts are imprecise. So then people argue like, oh, then that's why I don't count calories, or that's why you should never count calories. And I wholeheartedly disagree. I think in the beginning, you don't want to necessarily know exactly the calories for the meals, but you should have a general idea of what you're eating, right? You notice that these were like the variance between like an apple and like a tomato and like some carrots and baked potatoes. Those are all generally pretty close. Now, if you add like a quesadilla is probably in the range of 1,500 to 2,000 calories. So that's almost 1 pound a year. If you add an enchilada, you're up to a pound over here. Some type of cake, you're way north. Drinks, caloric beverages, margaritas, you're going to be like 700 calories. You're going to be way up there. So even though the calorie counts might be imprecise, you still need to have a general idea of what these things are worth. Because if you have no idea what the calories are worth, you're going to grossly mismanage that budget. You grossly mismanage it, then you're going to see the weight really balloon up because you have no idea why you're gaining that weight if you have no idea how these calories function. So the goal here is not to be exactly accurate as far as the calorie counts go, but you want to have some awareness of what you're eating and what the general ballpark is, so you can start bringing that number down. Because even if you're off by 20%, if you're consistently off by that number, then you should see that trend, your weight start to go down. And if you're not losing weight, that means you're still taking in too many calories. So you still got to keep dropping that number down. And the easiest way, I call it the caloric conundrum in my book, is to overestimate the calories you're intaking. Meaning for that apple, you do the 90 calories for that apple. You don't do the 70. You do the high range. You overestimate the caloric intake and underestimate the caloric burn. So if it tells you that you're burning, say 300 calories, but that's over reports by 30%, so that's 90 calories, then you give yourself like a 210 calorie workout. Make it 200 calories burned out, and now you got a good margin the other way. So that means that it's a lot of maths, a lot of numbers. I know I'm throwing at you, but you can just rewind this and watch this again so it can really make sense to you. So you overestimate the calories you're taking in and you underestimate the calories you're burning, and that will really help open up that gap. Because remember, you need a gap of 3,500 calories to lose 1 pound of fat. So you have to manage that equation because your skinny life depends on it. So I would argue that in the beginning, depending on where you're at, calorie counting is a pretty high skill set. But in the beginning, it's good to get a good idea of what things are worth. You don't have to necessarily log every meal or log every bite because we know those are inaccurate, but you want to have some general idea of what you're intaking. Because if you have no idea what you're intaking, especially on weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the days that people just fall out of the wayside as far as their calories go. And that's my cheat day. And that's when I blow up and calories don't count that day. And then they get fat and then they feel bad. And then they see me or they're my friends and they got big. They avoid me. And I don't think I don't notice that you guys avoid me. I do see you guys. But you really need to know that counting calories is a pretty high skill set. And you need to have an understanding of the value of the calories. Not to the T, but just the value of the calories. Another school of thought that you can go after is to understand these habits. If you're eating more whole foods, if you're eating slowly, mindfully, if you're knowing like the texture of the food, if you're eating without distractions, if you got a handle on stress eating, on things like that nature, these are like other habits that will really kind of work alongside as you really try to break this game wide open. So for my clients, this is where I try to teach is really manage the whole process. Have an idea. You don't have to track every day, but you have to have some idea of what you're intaking. And when you really want to turn on the gas and you start logging, overestimate the calorie burn, overestimate the calories you eat, and underestimate the calories you burn. Hopefully you're thoroughly confused with that because this is calories are crazy. It's crazy. And the part that's really hard about the calories is that your skinny life depends on it. So this is a relationship that matters. This is how we lose weight, is by burning more calories and eating less calories. And if we don't get these numbers right, then we get really stuck. And it's what I call hell, which is the spot where you diet and you don't lose weight. And that's like the worst thing that can happen. So if you guys have any questions on that, feel free to comment in the thread or send me a text or whatever, because this stuff is really important as far as the calories go. Now let's talk about today's book spotlight. First time I'm doing this, and I'm trying to read a book a week just in order to update my brain and really get myself thinking faster and really present to you the most relevant and useful information for you as I try to make myself a behavioral change specialist. This book here I found particularly useful, which is the book Tiny Habits, small changes, the tiny small changes, habits that change your life, which is great. BJ Fogg talks about this behavioral change model, which is every behavior is equal to motivation, action, like motivation, ability, and prompt, right? Behavior equals motivation, ability, and prompt. In order for you to have a behavior to do something, you have to have the motivation, the ability, and the prompt, which is the cue. And he really breaks it down into making these habits easy and simple, which is what you try to make everything in life. You want to get everything from, it's called automaticity. And that basically means that 40 to 50% of your life happens on autopilot. And if you can get these good habits to be in autopilot, then the rest of your life, you're going to be in tremendous health and shape. And the habits that I focus on with my clients is the nutrition, the movement, sleep, the water, and the vitamins. The more of that we can get into your automatic line where you don't think about, the better off you're going to be. And BJ Fogg does a great job in this book. I highly recommend it. I think it'll help you incorporate behavioral change in a kind of a simple model and help you stack these cues. What I mean by stack these cues is, say you want to do like you want to read more, and say, okay, I want to read more. So you got to figure out how to read more, and you break it up into like one simple action. So instead of going out to try to read 20 pages a day, you set out to read 1 page a day, because 1 page is a lot easier. You make this one small, tiny action. And so you set that out because that's easy to do. Anybody can read 1 page. So you put that in there, and every day you read 1 page and you celebrate. Yes. You celebrate that 1 page that you read. And after a while, you're going to figure out the environment that really lends itself to reading more. And if you read more, that's great. If you read 3 or 4 more pages, but that's how you start making these changes, these tiny habits, and incorporate them into your life so that your whole life can go into automaticity. Thank you so much, Diana. Love you. Thanks for watching the show. Hope your back's feeling better. If you're watching the live or you're watching the replay, make sure you comment, get me skinny. I'll get you into our Facebook group, the Fitness Avengers. I'm going to be running a live 5-day get me skinny challenge for this new year because 2020 is almost over. Oh man, can't wait for this year to be over, right? We're going to start the next year on the right spot. People are going to wear masks. The vaccine will be here and life will be good again. I will be able to finally hug my clients again. I'll be able to see them and it's going to be just so awesome. So I'll be running a 5-day Get Me Skinny challenge that first week of January. Make sure you tune in next week. Next week, I'm going to talk about the 7 truths about accountability. The 7 truths about accountability and why you need them in your life and how accountability helps you take you and your performance to the next level. Again, my name's Tony Arreola. I'm a master trainer, coach, and author. And my purpose in life is to teach you health and happiness because I believe that if you know everything about health and happiness in your life can just be remarkable and unimaginable and everything that you've ever dreamed of. So thank you so much for tuning in. You're the reason I exist. Thanks for watching. Make sure you tag your friends and I'll see you on the skinny side. Yeah. All right, great.
Thank you for watching the Fitness Avenger live show. If you like the show, make sure to like it and share. Please join us next week on Facebook Live. This week's show is brought to you by our close friends at Total Body Project. Visit totalbodyproject.com for more info.
Goodbye. Goodbye.